Hello children, let me welcome you to the virtual class of the Brihan Mumbai Mahanagar Palika. My name is Shraddha teacher. Children, we are in the middle of this COVID-19 pandemic and because of that we are not able to go to school, but that doesn't mean we are going to stop learning. So we are going to do many lessons which are very interesting from your textbook through the virtual class here. So let us do a lesson in English today. So children, let me welcome you to an English lesson, and this lesson will be in standard 9th English. And children, the name of the lesson is Please Listen. It is lesson number 4.1 from your English textbook. That is, this is the first lesson in unit 4. Now, we all know that when we learn any new language, there are some things or some skills that we need to learn first. Okay, so in this lesson we are going to focus on listening. But before going to the lesson, before reading the poem, we are going to talk a little bit about certain language skills. So to begin with, let us understand that any language skill is divided into spoken skills and written skills. Okay, you speak and you write. So now spoken skills are skills which you develop in order to speak. That is, you learn to use a proper pronunciation, you learn to say the words correctly, you learn to pause properly when you're speaking, you learn to change the tone of your voice, you stress certain words, you do not stress certain words. So these are all the skills you use when you speak a language. What about writing a language? When you write a language, children, you learn how to write the spellings correctly, you learn how to form paragraphs, you learn how to write the sentences properly, how to use the different kinds of punctuation properly, etc. Now, along with speaking and writing, there are two other extremely important skills in English which are called as listening and speaking. Okay, sorry, listening and reading. Now, when you listen, when you read, you take in information. That is, when you listen, you hear certain things, you get to hear certain information. And when you read, you look at a book and you pick out information with your eyes and you store it in your brain. Okay, so basically to learn any language, you need to learn to listen, you need to learn to speak, to read and to write. Alright, now today we are going to focus on the skill listening. Why? Because the name of the poem is Please Listen. Now, listening and speaking are two parts of the same coin. When will you listen? You will listen when someone is speaking. So see here, these are the two bubbles. One of them is speaking, the other one is listening. And when the other one is speaking, this one is listening. So when someone speaks, what do? We listen. Alright. And these two things together, speaking and listening, what are we doing? In a way, we are communicating. Alright, we are telling someone else our ideas. We are communicating. So now children, what is communication? Communication means it is exchanging information. So whenever you speak, whenever you listen, what do? You exchange information. Now remember children, in this particular lesson, we are not going to talk about information. In this particular lesson, of course, we are going to talk about speaking, we are going to talk about listening, but we are going to talk about exchanging emotions through speaking and listening. So, along with exchange of information, we also exchange our love, we exchange our feelings. How do we express your love? How do you express your love towards your mother? You can embrace her. You can also say things. If you want to complain to your mother, if you want to ask something from your mother, if you want something from her, You need to speak and she needs to listen. So language is used for all this. Okay, see, when you want to tell a secret to your friend, what do? Here again you speak. So you use language. So remember, whenever you speak, whenever you listen, you are using some kind of language. Alright, now see here, a teacher giving instructions to her class. Here also she is using some kind of language. Along with language, of course, she uses gestures, she uses her eyes, she uses her face, but language is called as the key to communication. Sometimes we also ask for someone else's opinion, isn't it? We ask someone, what do you think about this? What should I do? So you ask someone for his or her opinion also. So to do all this, children, to communicate, what is the main tool that we use? It is language. Okay, you can also of course use gestures, and you can use your eyes, you can use your hands, but then that is only a minor part of communication. The major part of communication is using language. Okay, and when you use language, what do? You speak and you listen. So now let us talk about when we talk to each other, when we speak. When one person speaks, the other person listens. There can be two things which happen. Okay, you can either agree with what that person is saying. So there can be agreements. That is, for example, see here, they are both shaking hands and they're saying okay. Now, when they're saying okay, it means one of them said something to the other one listened to it, and the other one felt that, oh, what this person is saying is right. And so she says, okay. So, sometimes when you communicate, you come to agreements. And like I told you, these are all language use. You are producing language here. You're saying things. So, when you agree with someone, what all things, what all language, what all words can you use? That we will see now. Alright. Along with agreements, there can also be disagreements. Now children, this is not something which was out of the way. This is all part of your textbook. We have this as an exercise in your textbook. Okay, so we're looking at that now. So when you speak, when you listen, you might agree with someone. Okay, what that person is saying, you might be convinced. So that is called as agreements. And when you agree, there is a certain kind of language that you use. When you do not agree, there could be disagreements. Disagreement means one person is trying to talk, but the other person is not convinced. This also happens often. It happens often in your house. For example, suppose your mummy tells you that it is enough now. You have been sitting in front of the television for a long time now, so you please get up from there. You tend to disagree. You tell your mother, no, I have been studying all this while and now I just sat and now you want me to get up. So what are you doing? You are disagreeing. So see children, when you agree with someone also, you produce a certain kind of language or you use certain words. When you disagree with someone also, you use certain words. Then you use language also when you ask for someone else's opinion. For example, when you say, what do you think about this dress that I am wearing? What do you think? Should I study in the evening or tomorrow morning? What do you think about the new government policy? So there are so many things in which you can ask someone else for their opinion. So when you ask for opinions, again, we tend to use different kind of words and different language. Okay, so you make use of language according to the situation. So we have a nice and interesting exercise in the textbook where we will talk about the kind of language that you will use when we are listening and we agree. That is, when you agree with the speaker, and when you are listening and you disagree with the speaker. So when you agree with the speaker, there are statements which you use for agreements. And when you disagree with the speaker, there are statements which you use for disagreements. So come on, let's see what they are. So when you agree with someone, instead of just nodding your head, instead of just saying okay, okay, instead of just saying yes, yes, now you can use more language. You can use more interesting language. So what all things can you say? You can say, I totally agree with you. Okay, I totally agree means I understand that whatever you're saying is 100% right. I totally agree with you. You could also say exactly, absolutely. That means what are you doing? You're agreeing with what is being told to you. You could also simply say you're right. Or you could say I don't know, I need to think about it. This case is when you are in partial agreement. That is, you are feeling that you're getting a feeling that what your friend is saying is right, but then you need to check or you need to think about it. So in such a situation, you would say, I don't know, I need to think about it. Or you could also say, I suppose so. So I'm not sure, but I suppose so. Okay, these are the statements that you will use when you agree with someone. Now, let me tell you, give you a small assignment here. Try to write at least 2 more statements that you would use when you agree with someone. Okay, now the next part is when you disagree. When you ask for opinions. You're asking your friend. So instead of always saying, what do you think? What is your opinion? What do you think? You can also ask, do you think this dress will look nice on me? Okay, this is a way you can ask for your friend's opinion. You could also say, do you agree that the price of certain things have gone up too much? Or what do you think clearly? What is your opinion? Clear cut you're asking. Or you could also ask, how do you feel about that? How do you feel about someone not paying back the money that he owes? Or anything. Okay? So this is when you ask for someone's opinion. Now, you could also disagree with people. It is not necessary that whatever someone tells you, you have to say, yes, you're right, you're absolutely correct, and I agree with you. Not necessary. Sometimes you could have your own ideas. So if you want to disagree with someone, instead of fighting, instead of holding the other person's collar, you can also say, no, I don't think so. I think that what you're saying, I don't agree with it. I don't think so. You could also say, if you're very strong that you are not absolutely not on the same page with that person, you can say, I totally disagree. That is, there is no chance for any more argument here. There is no chance for any more explanation here. I totally disagree. Then you can say, not necessarily. That if someone is saying, if you walk in the rain, you'll catch a cold. You could say, not necessarily, because I always walk in the rain and I never catch a cold. Or you could say, I'm not sure about that. Or you could say, let's agree to disagree. See, this is a very, you can say, nice way of saying, let's agree. We are agreeing that we are disagreeing. Okay? So these are certain statements that you could make when you are agreeing with someone, when you are asking for your friend's opinion, or when you are disagreeing with someone. So this is how slowly, children, we learn a particular language. Okay? Now, like I told you, this lesson is about listening, but it is not about communicating. Remember, this lesson is not about exchange of information only. It is about exchange of emotions also. Sometimes there are situations in life when you are going through a tough time in your life and you do not need help from anyone. Okay, in the poem also, when we read now, you will see that the person who is narrating the poem, the person who's reciting the poem, the person who's written the poem, that person does not want any kind of help or any kind of pity from anyone. That person just wants someone to lend him a patient ear. That is listening. When you say lending a ear, means ear is not something which you can pluck out from the side of your head and lend it or give it to someone, but that is a way you use language. When you say, when you lend a ear, means you are listening to someone. And again, there is a difference between hearing and listening. See, when I'm walking on the road, I hear so many things. It is not necessary that I'm listening to all the things. When you listen means you pay attention. Okay, so this is a kind of a request from someone, that when someone is in trouble, someone needs your help, someone wants you to listen, you should just do that. You should just listen. Alright, so come on, let's go to the lesson and let's go to the poem, and I will read the poem line by line. I will try to explain the meaning of the poem to you, and whenever necessary, I will try and explain the meaning of some words also here. So let me start with the poem. What is the name of the poem? The name of the poem is Please Listen. So it is a kind of a request, or someone is pleading you to listen. Okay? When I ask you to listen to me and you start giving me advice, you have not done what I asked. So, does this person require advice? Does the poet require advice? The poet doesn't require any advice. The poet already knows what he has to do. He just wants you to listen to him. Okay? Sometimes, speaking to someone also lessens our burden. We feel as if we are relaxed a little bit when you talk to someone. So he says, the poet says, when I ask you to listen to me and you start giving me advice, you have not done what I asked. I asked you to just listen. When I ask you to listen to me and you begin to tell me why I shouldn't feel that way, you are trampling on my feelings. Suppose I say that I think that I should have done this or I should not have done this, and you suddenly start telling me, no, I think it is not like this, you should have done like that, you should have done like this. That means what are you doing? You are not doing what I ask you to do. You are trampling on my feelings. Trampling. When you trample on something, what do? You step on something with an intention to destroy it. So when I'm asking you to listen to me and you're giving me unwanted advice, what are you doing? You are trampling. Trampling here means what? You are crushing my feelings. So see here, a person is crushing a can of cold drink. Okay, so just like that person is crushing, that action is called as a trampling. So now you cannot actually trample physically someone's feeling, but this is just a example which is used. Okay, trampling is a physical act, but you can also trample. When you trample on someone's feeling, means it is as good as stepping and crushing someone's feeling. Then when I ask you to listen to me and you feel you have to do something to solve my problem, you have failed me, strange as that may seem. So now when your friend tells you a problem, you immediately get into the mood that now she has told me the problem, I am supposed to solve it. But remember, most of the times and many a times people know how to solve their problems. They do not expect you to solve their problems. Okay, they expect you, if you're a friend, to just listen. So he says, when I'm asking you to listen to me, just listen and do not try to solve your problem, my problem for me. If you do that, it means you are failing me. Listen. All I ask is that you listen. Don't talk or do. Just hear me. Now the next 3 lines, when I explain, you will understand. There are certain names given here. Let us start reading. Advice is cheap. 20 cents will get you both Dear Abby and Billy Graham in the same newspaper. So now what is the meaning of this? Advice is cheap, they are saying. Advice is many times free also. 20 cents. Now like we have paisa in India, there is the cents are used in the UK. Okay. Now cents means paisa, and when you say rupiah or rupees, it means pound. So only by paying 20 cents you will get Dear Abby and Billy Graham. Now who are these people? These are not real people, but these are just columns in the newspaper. Now when you pick up any newspaper, you will see certain pages on which there are a lot of extra things. In that you will see people asking for their difficulties, people asking people to solve their problems. So there are certain columns which come in the paper every day, and if you open that column, you will see different people every day seeking solutions to their problems. So these are just two columns in the newspaper. One column is called Dear Abby and the other column is called Billy Graham. So he's saying, if I wanted to take advice from you, I would have paid 20 cents and I would have applied in a newspaper. But I will not do it because a newspaper is something which I don't know. I don't know these people. But since I know you, you're my friend, I'm asking you to just listen to me. And I can do for myself. I am not helpless. May be discouraged and faltering, but not helpless. So sometimes we start pitying people, but remember, most people do not need our pity. They are not helpless. They are quite capable of taking care of themselves. They just want some empathy from us and not sympathy. Okay? So faltering here means what? When sometimes when you walk on the road, when you suddenly you lose balance, that is ladkhada jate ho aap, that is called as faltering. Okay, so moving unsteadily is called as faltering. So I might falter, but I will not fall. I'm not helpless. See here, when you walk on a rope, you walk falteringly. Okay, you move unsteadily, but not helpless. Then the poem goes on to say, when you do something for me that I can do and need to do for myself, you contribute to my fear and inadequacy. Now this also we do a lot of times. When someone tells you, see, I want to do this, you say, come on, you leave it, let me do it for you. So that time what the other person feels, I am inadequate, I am not able to do it, that is why he is doing it. Is it so? So that person starts thinking in the negative for himself. So when I can do something, let me do it. Don't make me feel inadequate. Don't contribute to my fear. Here, inadequacy means lacking the quality or the quantity which is required. There are some people who will never let other people do anything. They want to do everything themselves because they feel that I am better, I am superior than the others. If the other person does the work, that work will not be done properly. That is a feeling of many people. But we do not think about the effect that it has on the other person. Okay? But when you accept as a simple fact that I feel what I feel, no matter how irrational, then I can stop trying to convince you. So sometimes if you just accept me for what I am, there are many things in life that you should accept. Okay, the other person will feel good. Irrational here means lacking clarity or reasoning. Sometimes what happens is when whatever the other person says doesn't seem to be normal to us. It may not be normal to us, but it might be normal to that person. Okay, so you should learn to accept it. Then what will happen is I can stop trying to convince you. I will not need to tell you again and again that I am right. So sometimes, even though the other person is not like you, the other person is a little different from you, you should always try to accept that person. To get about this business of understanding what's behind this irrational feeling. So he's saying, I can stop convincing you. I will stop wasting my energy on trying to tell you why I'm feeling this, and I will start concentrating and thinking about what is the reason behind this feeling. And when that's clear, answers are obvious and I don't need advice. He's saying when the answers are clear to me, when I get time to think without wasting time to convince you, when I get time to think, what will happen is my answers will become obvious and I will not need any advice from you. Irrational feelings make sense when we understand what's behind them. Sometimes we see certain people behaving in a certain fashion. but we do not understand why that is happening. That is because we are not in the situation that they are in. So remember, there is a saying in English, always walk a mile in a person's shoe before judging them. So before you try to make an opinion about someone, try to put yourself in that person's situation. Then this is the last part of the poem for us children. Perhaps that's why prayer works sometimes. For some people, God is mute and He doesn't give advice or try to fix things. That is why people want to pray, because when you're praying, you're just saying things to God and God is listening to you. Okay, you have the faith that God is listening to you. Imagine you're trying to tell God your problems and God is interrupting you all the time. And God is saying, no, it is not like this, it is like that, it is not like that, it is like this. What will you do? You will stop praying also probably. So that is why they're saying praying helps people. Praying works for some people, because sometimes when you're saying your problem, you're also listening to it yourself and you get a better understanding of your perspective. You get a better understanding or idea of your problem. God just listens and lets you work it out for yourself. So what does God do? God just listens to you and God lets you work out your problems for yourself. So please listen and just hear me. And if you want to talk, wait a minute for your turn and I will listen to you. So now, this is the importance of listening in life. There are many situations, many problems which come up because people do not listen. Many a times, people listen not to understand but to reply back. That is also very wrong. What is your intention? Your intention there is to prove that I am better than you. So whatever you say, I will listen to it and I will reply back to you. So many a times in life, you should learn to just listen. So this is an unknown author. Okay, the author has given you a, you can say, process. He started the process where he's asking you and telling you the importance of just being there for someone and listening to someone without giving unnecessary advice and without interrupting people and without giving your opinion to people. So that was about the poem. Please listen. So I told you, it is not only about the skill in English, but it is also a very emotional thing. It is a very important thing that you should develop in your life. Okay, now like we usually do, let us go to certain you can say exercises in your textbook. So let's go to the English workshop part. The first exercise there, the poet uses a free conversational style in his poem. So you will see that there are no rhyming words. He is not bothered about all that, and it is as if he is speaking to us. It is also called the colloquial style. So when you use free conversational style, as if you're just speaking to a person, but it is a poem, then it is called as a colloquial style poem. Pick out and write down such lines or expressions that support the above statement. That is, pick out lines which are said in a free and conversational style in the poem. See, you start giving me advice. You have not done what I asked. This is as if two people are talking to each other. Okay, let's look at some more now here. I shouldn't feel that way. You are trampling on my feelings. Don't talk or do, just hear me. So see, nowhere you will feel that these are lines of a poem. They just sound as if two people are talking to each other. You contribute to my fear and inadequacy. And when that's clear, the answers are obvious. Okay, so these are all lines of the poem, but they do not have any kind of a rhyme with any other line, and it is as if someone is talking to someone else. So it is in the style of a conversation. Let's come to the next exercise. We have already done an exercise where we use a certain kind of language to express a certain kind of idea. That is, when we want to agree with someone, you use particular kind of language. When you want to disagree, you use particular kind of language. Now look at the language you use again when you want to say yes or when you want to say no, for things which are right and for things which are wrong. or as per the textbook, the do's and don'ts. Okay, so whatever you feel is positive, whatever you should do, you put under the do's. If you should not do something which is negative, you put under the don'ts. So pause this video here for a second and try to solve this exercise yourself, and then you come back and check the answers with mine. So this is with the context of the textbook, the context of the poem that we have just learned. Okay, so the first one, please listen. Where will it come? It will come in the do's. Give me advice. It will come in the don'ts. According to the poem, he doesn't want advice. The poet doesn't want advice. Tell me why. That will again come in the don'ts. Okay, then you have solve my problem. Again it will come in the don'ts. Just hear me will come in the do's. Accept as a simple fact will come in the do's again. Tell me why will come in the don'ts like we just discussed. Wait a minute will come in the do's. And contribute to my fear will come in the don'ts. So you can see here how the poet is trying to explain and tell you what you are supposed to do to help him and what you are not supposed to do to help him. So you are just supposed to listen, just hear me, just accept the facts and wait a minute before giving me advice. And what does he not want you to do? He does not want you to give him advice. He does not want you to solve his problems. He does not want you to tell me why and or contribute to his fear or make him feel inadequate. Okay? Now there is a particular skill, children, we will talk about. There are two skills here. So one of them we will be doing now and one of them we will be doing it later as a separate lesson. So the first skills are diary writing. We will do it now. And there is a small exercise about informal letters. So that we will do it as a separate lesson some other time because that is going to take a lot of time. So let's talk and concentrate on the skill of diary writing. So what is the meaning of diary writing, children? Now there are many you can say skills or activities that we used to do in the previous times, but nowadays today's generation, that is you children, have stopped doing it. There are many activities like that. For example, reading the newspaper. There was a time when everyone used to read the newspaper. Forget about newspapers, even reading, basically reading a storybook, or because now we have so many different other kinds of entertainment. You would rather pick up the phone and look at a movie or a cartoon instead of reading. Okay, so there are many activities which we have stopped doing, but they are good activities, they are good habits. You should cultivate and develop them. One such activity is writing a diary. So what are the different aspects or what are the different things that you think will develop in you when you start writing a diary? A diary will help you to reflect. It is not only a record of the things that you have done, but it will also help you to reflect. Whatever you have done is right, wrong, you can put in your feelings there, expressing. Now see here, like you said, when you speak to God, praying is very important or very popular because it is speaking to God. You're speaking and God is listening. In the same way, you will notice that when you write a diary, you're getting a full 100% a chance to express yourself and no one will interrupt you. Whatever you feel, whatever is there in your mind, you can just put it down on the paper. So that is why diary writing is a very important skill which is not existent nowadays. So you write diaries, you keep a diary, you have a different diary for each year, you update the diary, that is at least once in a day, you pick up the diary, open it, so your diary can become like your constant friend. Okay, now sometimes in school we have the daily diary system where you write the diary then because your teacher tells you to. Now what are the things that you can write in your diary, children? You can write your personal feelings, your personal experiences, what you want to do the next day. You can write your plans. For example, see here, this child is written about his experience, that is Christmas at Granny's. So for a festival, for Christmas, he's gone to his granny's place and see what he's written. As I glanced past the lit Christmas tree in the window, I could see endless rain pouring down and splashing into large puddles that now filled the road outside my grandparents' home. So anything you can write in your diary. Okay, your diary will never judge you. You can also plan your week in a diary. You can write your weekly schedule in a diary. So look here, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and also there he's written the timings. So from 7 in the morning to 5 in the evening, he's going to write in short whatever he has done, whatever the child has done. And a very important thing to notice here is there is a slot kept for writing the diary also. It's 7 o'clock on a Tuesday, the child will write the diary, and 12 o'clock on a Wednesday or Monday or Friday, he will put down or take down notings in the diary. And Sunday is of course a holiday, so there is no diary writing also. So the diary writing is also a skill or an activity which is becoming, extinct nowadays, but you should try and revive it. So learn to start writing a diary. These are all ways of expressing yourself. So speaking to someone, when you speak to someone and the other person listens, you express your feelings. Nowadays, because of this ability, there's no one who's interested in listening to anyone else. Everybody is busy with their lives. That is why people are starting to commit suicide. People are going into depression because there is no one to listen to them. There is no one to vent their pent up feelings on. So whatever is there in your mind is there in your mind. It is piling up, and you're becoming mentally sick. You're mentally not well. Okay, so this is a very important poem as far as today's situation is concerned. So I hope you understood how important it is to listen to your friend when that person wants to share some problems with you. So hope you enjoyed the lesson. So children, now you have watched the video. So after you watch the video now, you will have to complete a few simple tasks. Now you might have watched the video on your computers or your laptops or your mobile phones. Now after you watch the video, what will you do? You will please go to the description box which is given below the video. So what is the description box? See, the description box looks like this. Alright, and after you go to the description box, you will see that there are a few questions there. Now what are these questions about? These questions are about the lesson that we just learned or the video that you just watched. So what will you do? You will think back properly about the lesson and you will try and answer these questions and note down the answers in your notebook if you want. Okay? After that, we have another task waiting. You will also click on the link which you will find in the description box to fill up the Google form. So now what is the Google form, children? It is nothing but a simple form. There are a few simple questions there about the video which you just saw and also about yourself. So these are the tasks now that you will have to complete after you watch each video. So children, wasn't that a very interesting lesson? I'm sure you learned a lot of new things in this lesson. If you have liked this video, please hit the like button and also subscribe to my video so that you will get to see all the videos which I keep posting regularly.